I'm going to be putting together a series of videos to help a friend of mine out to be able to draw in 3 dimensions so that he can use his 3D printer and print the parts. We have a new drawing. Let's make an adapter. This adapter would be taking a 1/4 inch shaft on the inside, and the outside would be, let's just call it 3/4. So it would drop into a 3/4 inch pipe. Now, if we make that cylinder round, whenever we put it in the pipe, then the pipe needs to be perfectly round. But if we're going to be driving this pipe into the ground, for instance, then we're probably going to burr up the end of the pipe. So in that case, I'm going to use a Polygon tool, and the adapter that goes into the pipe is going to be polygon shaped. In other words, it'll be 6-sided. And the reason for that is if it does get a little boogered up, you can just rotate it slightly and it should drop in. So to start with, we're going to put a 1/4 inch hole. Now one of the things you want to make sure of is whenever we start, you want to be drawing in 2 dimensions. And so we can tell that by whenever we put our first circle down, and I'm going to hit the tab key and tab over to diameter, and I'm going to put 0.250. Now I know my 3D printer doesn't print exactly. If I tell it 250 or 1/4 inch, it's going to be a little bit under. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust for that. I'm going to adjust for the tolerance in my drawing. So instead of saying 250, I'm going to say 270, because that is about what my printer is off in scale wise. So now we have a 270 circle, and if we click the zoom to extents, then it's going to come up, and this circle is in fact 0.270, as you can see here. All right, so this is the inside of the hole, and now I want to do the outside because I want to slide this in a pipe, but also I want a flange on the top so that it doesn't slide all the way into the pipe. And then the other thing I want to do is I want a flange above the base flange so that it can ride on a bushing so that it can rotate easily. And this is actually just a base for a whirligig. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my radius around here. So again, we're going to go and grab the circle tool. I'm going to click the line. Actually, I'm going to bring the mouse over to the line, and I'm going to press the C key on the keyboard, and it's going to go to the center. And now I'm going to move this out slightly so that I can create my ridge that I want. And I want my ridge to be, let's say we want the ridge to be 3/16 of an inch. So what I can do is I can adjust for the 3/16, or let's take a step back. I'm going to cancel this. We're going to go up and get the line tool, and I'm going to show you how to go ahead and get the exact dimension you want. So I'm going to bring the cursor over to the line, and I'm going to hit the C key for center. Now you notice it's put me a line here, and I'm just moving the mouse around. If I move the mouse close over here and I press down on the shift key, you see that no matter now, if I move my mouse up and down, the line still stays straight. So that's how you can get a straight line. So I'm just going to come out here a little bit and then click. Now I have a line. Now I'm going to get another tool, and it's going to be over here, and it's going to be the line length tool, and I'm going to click that. Now I'm going to click the line and bring it over to this edge of my circle, and I'm going to hit the I key for intersection. So now what it's done is it's cut my line off at this intersection. And now if I want this line to be 1/16 of an inch or 3/16 of an inch, I'm simply going to click over here on the far right side of the line. Now if I move my mouse, I can set the length. However, I'm just going to hit the tab key, and down here in the inspector bar, I'm going to put in this case, 3/16. So I'm going to put in 3/16, and now I have a line that's 3/16. So I have a 1/4 inch and then 3/16 here. Now, the other thing that I want to do is now create the circle. So I'm going to grab the circle tool and go back to the edge here and do center. So C for center, and then I'm going to go over to this edge and hit V, and it's going to snap right on the end of that line. Now I'm going to delete this construction line by simply clicking on it and hitting the delete key, because I no longer need that construction line. And also, I've decided that this line is a little large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the select button over here, and then I'm going to select this line. And see down here where it gives me the X and the Y dimension, I'm going to change that, and we're going to make that, let's make that 610, and we will look at the next one, and Y and 610, and I can put 6:1 or 6:10, either way, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to hit the enter key, and you see it narrowed it up some, or made it a little smaller. Well, I still think that's a little big, so we're going to go ahead and change this 6 to a 5. So that's going to drop us down quite a bit. So, and I'm going to go over here. So now I'm at 51. Let's see what that looks like. So you see you can adjust this, and you want to adjust both of them, because if you only adjust one, for instance, and hit enter, now see I have an oval. Well, I don't want an oval. I want a perfect circle. So we're going to make sure that X and Y are the same. And now I have the circle again. So now I have the inside of my circle. I have the lip of my circle, the deck, if you will. This is going to be the highest point. And then next I want to go ahead and click and put in the outer dimension. So again, we're going to grab the circle tool. I'm going to go over here to the circle again and hit the C for center. Notice I have my circle again. And now I'm going to make this 1 inch. So I'm going to go tab, tab, and now put in 1 and hit enter. So now I have the outside dimension. I have the outside of my center step, if you will, and then I have the center hole. Now, the next step is to go ahead and go back to the circle tool, and I'm going to find center again, and then I'm going to set this one here is just going to be a construction line, but I'm going to tab twice and then put 750 would be 3.750 would be 3/4 of an inch, and again, I'm a little small on that, so I need to do 0.90 and hit enter. Now I have that circle. I'm just going to check it, and it is in fact 1 inch there, and this here is 0.9. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab the Polygon tool, and if I click on, just move the cursor near the circle and hit the C key for center. And now I'm going to bring the Polygon tool close to the edge and then hit the Q key. And you see it's going to snap it over there, so it's right on the edge. Now I can go and delete this 0.9 on the circle, the construction line, so to speak, because that's what I needed in order to get the size right. So now we've drawn our part in 2 dimensions, and the way we know we're 2 dimensions is if we take and cursor over, you can see I just have the yellow dot and a green dot for rotating. If we do 3 dimensions, so if we go down here and we toggle 2D, 3D, now whenever I do it, you can see I get X, Y, and Z. So it's really easy just to stick with 2 dimensions to start with for your drawing. Once you get that part, then we can move over to 3 dimensions whenever we start extruding things. So let's go back to 2 dimensions. So we're there. And again, we only have the yellow dot and the green dot, so we're in 2 dimensions. So now we need to change our view. So we go up here, and right now I'm in the world plan view, and I want to change this to isometric. And the reason we do that is because it's much easier to see what's going on as you start extruding things. So let's start by deciding what we want where. So right now we have, and if we look at this, and actually anytime you lose your drawing, if you just go up here to zoom and extend and just click it, it's going to bring it right back to the center. So if I go up here and look in 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions, you see that you don't see anything. But as soon as I switch back, then you're going to see the drawing again. And that's because we do not have 3 dimensions yet. So we're going to add the 3rd dimension. So let's start by working, we're going to work in the negative direction first. And what I mean by that is we're going to start with the polygon. And we're going to make this 1 inch long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to my toolbar and hit the simple extrude. So we're looking for simple extrude. Now, whenever I click the polygon, you can see that I can move my mouse up and I can move my mouse down. And if you look down here in the inspector bar, you can see that as I move it, these numbers change. So down would be negative numbers and up is positive numbers. In my case, I want to make this, we'll make this 1 inch. So because I want it to be low 1 inch, then I'm going to make this a negative 1 inch, but also I need to compensate for the thickness I'm going to have of the ridge, and I'm going to make that, let's make that 200 thousandths. So I need to make this, I'm going to hit the tab key so I can get to the height, and I'm going to put in negative 1.200. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me this part at 1.200 thousandths. So now I'm going to do the next step, which is going to be clicking the outside edge. And again, notice I can move it up and down. This time I'm going to hit the tab key to get to the height over here so I can put in a height. And this is going to be negative 0.200. So if you followed me along, now you'll realize that I have this at 200 height, and then this is actually 1 inch from this bottom lip to the bottom, which is exactly what I want. Now the next thing is this part here, I want to have it 1/4 of an inch above this deck here. So that's going to be a positive number. So again, we're going to do simple extrude, and I'm going to click it, and I'm going to move it up, and I'm just going to hit the tab key and put in 0.250 and hit enter. And now you can see that I have that part. And if we take a look at the part this way, where we're looking straight down, you can see that I in fact have the part. Now if we look at it in 3 dimensions, which we can do that by choosing the view up here. All right, so we're rendering it, and now you can see that I actually have a part. Now there's a problem with it, and if you paid attention, you know the problem is I do not have my hole. Notice my 1/4 inch hole is not there. That's because I haven't put it in there yet. But I'm just holding the scroll wheel down and moving the mouse around, and you're able to move your part. Now, depending on which view you're looking at, like if I go back to the isometric view, if I do that, I just moved the mouse a little bit and that thing disappeared. That's because if you want to inspect your part, you want to change your view. And now I can view it and rotate it and roll it and twist it, and it doesn't just disappear on me. And that's because I'm using the world plan view. So whenever you're doing the 3 dimensions, you're going to be using the isometric view. So now, well, see, I did it again. And if you lose it, again, go up here, zoom extend, and you will bring it right back to the center. So let's go ahead and finish this part. So I'm going to go back to the wireframe view. And now I know that there is my hole. So here's how you get that hole through the part. All right, it's going to be a few steps. So let's get busy. All right, first thing I want to do is I want to go and extrude again. So I'm going to do the simple extrude. And this time I'm going to click on the circle. And if you notice down here, there is a two-sided extrude. See that? So we're going to click that. Notice that it's gray now around it. And what that means is it's going to allow me to extrude this both going in the up direction and going down just by moving the cursor. And what I want to do is it doesn't matter where or how long I make this, because I'm actually going to make this disappear. This is going to be like drilling a hole in the part. So I'm just going to make sure that I get outside my part. So even if I went to about right there, that would be fine. But just to be safe, I'm going to go make it really big. So now you can see that I have this hole that's through my part. And that's basically what this is a hole. So now I'm going to remove this hole. Because if we look at the part right now, you're going to see it's looking kind of funny. So let's look at it right now. See, now I have a cylinder through there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go back to the wireframe view so we can view this. Now, first step, go to Modify. In Modify, you select the 3D boolean and hit Subtract. So that Control plus the Alt plus the S key if you do the keyboard shortcuts, but I just simply use the drop down tabs and do it. Now, here's the other thing, very important. The first thing you want to click on is the part that you're going to keep. So we're going to start with the top piece here. So I'm going to click on the top, and this is why you want to be in this view so you can see each individual piece. But this is going to be the top. So I'm going to click on it. Notice it's highlighted. Now I'm going to click what I want the whole or what I want to remove. And what I want to remove is this part here because this is my hole. So I'm just going to click it, and you can click it anywhere. Now it's gone. So if we take a look at the part, you will see that, oh, look at that. And actually I have to change the view. So we go up here and put on world plan. And if you look close, you can see that, yep, I've got a hole in there. However, my hole doesn't go all the way through. And if we look at the bottom, see, it didn't come out the bottom. And that's because all we did was take and remove the hole through this section of the part right here. So now I need to remove it from this section and remove it from this section. So let's go ahead and go back. And we'll go back to the wireframe. We will go back to the isometric. Again, it just makes it easier to follow along on removing parts. So we're going to go to extrude. So we're going to do simple extrude. And again, we're going to do the 1/4 inch hole. So I'm just going to, even though you have red lines there, if you click the 1/4 inch hole, notice that it moved to shift it to the 1/4 inch. And now again, I'm just going to go outside my part. And now again, I'm going to go up to Modify. And I'm going to go to Subtract, 3D Subtract. I'm going to first click the part that I want to keep, which is going to be this part here. So see, I've got that part highlighted now. And then I'm going to click what I want to remove, which is going to be that. And now if we take a look, you'll see, let's go back to the world plan view. And if we look here, now you'll see that hole is a little bit deeper, but it still doesn't go all the way through. That's because we haven't finished going through yet. So let's go back to the wireframe and let's finish this. So if we go again, simple extrude, and click on our 1/4 inch hole, which is right here. Bring it out of the part, go up to Modify, go to subtract, 3D subtract, click on the part that we want to keep, click on the part that we want to remove, and now if we go and look in 3 dimensions, whoops, see I didn't change my view. So we will go here. Now you can see that in fact I have the hole through the part. And that is exactly what I want as far as my part. And you can see I'm able to hold down the mouse wheel and move my mouse, and I can rotate this part around, and that is how we go about getting a simple little adapter to allow me to put this into a piece of 3/4 inch pipe, and a 1/4 inch shaft drops down in there and it secures it to the pipe. So once we finish this, then we're going to save it. So in my case, I'm going to do a save as, and I am just going to call this adapter underscore test. Okay. So, and then I'm going to save it as a, and I'll show you here. If you go all the way to the top, you're going to save it as a Windows drawing file, a TurboCAD for Windows drawing file. Save it that way first. Now I'm just going to click OK, and now we're going to save it as an STL file. So we save as, and then we go down here and select STL, and then it's already got the name in it, so we're going to say save. Now, the thing that you want to keep in mind whenever you design parts, and you're going to print them in 3 dimensions or print them on a 3D printer, you want to you don't want to use supports if you do not have to. And in this case, you would need supports. And you would need supports because this lip right here, if you printed this part, if it were on the table like this, it would print fine all the way up till it got to this area right here. Whenever it got to this area right here, now you've got an overhang. Well, the problem is whenever you print this, the printer will handle a 45-degree angle or thereabouts, but it will not handle a 90-degree angle, because what's going to happen is the filament is not going to have anything to hold on to. So whenever it starts going on the outside here, it's just, you're going to wind up with a bunch of spaghetti. So with this particular part, the best thing to do is split this part down the middle. And you split this part down the middle so that you can print half on either side. So now I use a different program for splitting the part. The part program I use is Meshcam. So what I'm going to do is open up Meshcam, and I'm going to go get my part, and I'm going to show you how to split it. Okay, so now I have my part in here, and if we look, you can see that I in fact have the part. However, I do not want to split it here. I want to split it here. So I have to rotate my part so that it's laying down. So let's see if I can rotate that so that it's laying down. And now we have it laying down. So I can split it right through the middle here. So what I'm going to do now is use the split tool, slice geometry. So I'm going to click it, and it's going to give me a menu here, or window, where I can fill in some perimeters, and I'm going to just tell it I want 2 slices or 2 pieces. So if we slice it twice, which is basically going to be 2 parts, it's only 1 slice. But if we do that, it's going to create some files. But what we're going to do is I'm going to click on the test, and then I'm going to add the letter A to the end of it. And now it's going to create my file. See, it's created 2 files. That's the slices that it created. And so now if I go to, let's just go and open up my 3D software, and you can see here I've done a part previous. It was a little different, but the same type of part. So I'm going to close this one, and we're going to open up the one that I just created. So let's go ahead and load it. Okay, this is the original part. Okay, you can see that it's one piece. And then if I open up my slices, because now I should have test A slice 1 and test A slice 2. So we're going to slice 1 is there, and slice 2, I might as well go ahead and bring that one in. Now you can see that it's not complete, because if we look at this, we're going to delete that one, because these are the two we're going to be working with. So, and I'm going to rotate this over. I'm going to turn this one over so you can see that these have a web here, and I do not want that web. And also you can see that the software says, hey, you got a problem here. So I'm going to click the repair tool, and it's going to take a moment, but you see that it actually fixed my drawing, fixed my part, and there I fixed that one. So now both of these have been repaired and they are ready to print. Now again, you want to pay attention to how you're going to print these, and in my case I'm going to be flipping them over, so I want to rotate them. You can't rotate both of them at one time, so you can rotate one, and then we will rotate the other one. And we rotate. Okay, so now this is how I want to print these, and they will print beautifully. They will come out just exactly like they've been drawn, and these are some pretty cool looking parts. So that's a simple, easy way to create a complex, if you will, part that you can print on your 3D printer. And in my case, what I would do now is go to the slicer and choose the profile that I want to use to slice it. Once I slice it, the program will tell me it's going to take 53 minutes and 11 seconds to print it. I'm going to be able to see it, the print as it actually prints, and you can see that this part actually prints beautifully. So, and that's a look at what the part's going to look like whenever it's done. So again, that's how I would go about printing it. Now I would just simply hit print, or if you're, and I believe you are, so let me just show you this. Once you get it sliced, and by the way, this Repetier host is a free software you can download if you haven't already, or you can use the software you have, either way. We're going to hit save to file, and whenever I click that, it's going to allow me to save it to the computer, and then I can put that on an SD card and take that over to the printer. All right, so here we go. We're going to do test slice. We're going to call this, we're just going to take out everything and do adapter test underscore parts, and then save. And this is a G-code file, so I would be able to run my G-code from the printer. If you have any questions on this little project, just leave them in the comments or send me an email and I'll get back to you.